character setups here. As you can see, I've got a demonstrator in the lobby, Hung Daddy 8923.
Hello.
He is the squad's Aquila ST squad, and in the party with us is Ronnie. So he's going to go over some things with us as well. First things first, I'm going to take a look at Hung Daddy's Crucible setup. So let's take a look here. We'll start off. We'll see that he's an Arc Strider, which is a good one for PvP. Let's take a look at his Arc Strider setup. Okay, he's got the Flux Grenade, the Arc Bolt, and the Skip Grenade. Honestly, I go with the first two, either Skip Grenade or Flux Grenade. That's personal preference, whatever you're better with. However you want to do it, that's fine. But I really maybe that's a PvE thing, not really my style. So you've got the Gambler's Dodge and the Marksman's Dodge. For this one, you're always going to want the Marksman's Dodge. Okay, and as for the jump, you've got high jump, strafe jump, and triple jump. I like the triple jump. That's how I would set it up. The strafe jump, it's your personal preference, but I would say for PvP, the triple jump, you just need that. As you'll notice over here on the side, you've got two different ways to set up your super. Okay, combination blow, combat, deadly reach, lethal current, disorienting blow, focus breathing, combat meditation, and lightning reflexes. It's really good either way that you set it up. I prefer the bottom one here, like he has it set up. So that's good. What the best thing is right here is your ability to dodge and increase your maximum sprint speed. The hunter's main strength is basically the ability to run. But if you notice, if you go up here, you've got the aftershock and the deadly reach. So that's also a good one. If I had to choose between the two, I would go with the top. But we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on his PvP setup. You notice that he's got the Vigilance Wing and the Number. Those are two good weapons. We'll go over weapon choice here in a little bit. And you've also got his armor. We're going to pay the most attention to the armor. This is a good setup. I don't rock shotguns. Not saying that they're bad, but I prefer the rocket launcher or the sword. Just because you can reach out the most kills with your heavy out of those. So let's take a look at his armor. You'll notice here that he's got restorative on his helmet. And you'll notice in his mod he's got impact absorption. So that's kind of an almost like a double negative. Not saying that one's bad or the other, but if we look over here towards his stat, he's got mobility at 7, resilience at 5, and recovery at 2. The hunter's biggest weakness and their biggest strength. So the biggest strength is mobility. The hunter is always going to be faster. Biggest strength of a titan, going to be resilience. They can take more. And the biggest strength of a warlock, recovery. So when you are a hunter, if you have the choice, all of your armor should be focused on restorative. So when I rock my armor, I don't even put on impact absorption or restorative mods. I do nothing but class armor setups. So I'll give you an example of mine. For these, I would never use any of these mods. His reinforcement and his restorative though is really a good setup. But his mods are kind of wrong. So we'll go over that when we look at my character. We look over here, see Arc Paragon mod. That's something that I would use. But if you'll notice, if you look down here at his boots, Arc Ordnance, let me look here, Kinetic Counterbalance mod. So we've got a bunch of weapon mods for him on his armor. And, that's okay. But let's take a look at mine and see how I've got mine set up and see how they differ. So let's go into my character right now. You notice mine's a warlock. I've got the storm collar. I always use the pulse grenade. Anytime you get a pulse grenade, you should always use it, and you should always have the healing rift. The empowering is just not that great in PvP. The jump for the warlock doesn't matter. I use the burst because I like to get away from grenades. And for this bottom one, I'm really good at landfall, so I always use the landfall, the bottom one. But if you're good with blink, iconic blink is always a nice choice because you can get through a lot of things. So that's my super setup. I have other ones that I can go through too. Voidwalker, Vortex Grenade, or the Fireball or the Scatter Grenade. What you want to make sure is that you have Devour for this one. Voidwalker the Devourer is just way overpowered. You can literally go through and melee 3 people and just get so many kills. It's insane. I never use the Dawnblade, so let's look at some of the PvP guns that I have set up. I don't use the Rat King or any of the Iron Banner ones. They're just kind of there left over. But the main ones that I use is Mida Multi-Tool, Nameless Midnight, Origin Story, Vigilance Wing, and the Lincoln Green. And I also use my Anteope. But the more importantly is the secondary. The secondary, the Prosecutor, I'm really good with the Prosecutor. I'm really good with the Uriel's Gift. I'm also really good with the Last Hope. I have the number in the end and the Pilates correct. For your heavy, I always stick with a rocket launcher or a sword. Now, there are some fusion rifles that have become way overpowered. Really, heavy is kind of your choice, whatever you think is most. I don't like shotguns just because they don't carry enough ammo. You know, with the sword, you pick that up, you get like 6 or 8 sword blows with it, and that's, you know, you're playing 4v4. If you got 8 pieces of ammo and it's a one-hit kill, why not? Occasionally, most of the time I'll use the Sins of the Past just because it's too easy. But occasionally I'll put on either the Shotgun or the Tarantula just because they're way overpowered. Let's step over to my armor. And notice I have the Crown of the Tempest as my exotic. Remember how I was talking about each character has a weakness? Well, the Warlock is mobility. So I've got on, I know that my Warlock's going to be slow, and there's nothing I can do to increase mobility. So what I've got is just strictly restorative or resilience. Looking at mine, you notice that all of my mods will match my super. So arc melees. Okay, go to my gloves. What are we looking at the mod? We got arc melees again. So my melee and my arc is charging faster. And then we've got it reinforcement mod. So that's helping me out too. Going to the chest piece, what do we got? Arc Paragon, class ability recharge. It's all arc to match my super. So that's important when you go to set up your character for PvP, is that your mods on your armor match the super that you're running. There should be no reason that I'm running a fire solar impact mod because I'm running arc, so it really doesn't make any sense. So that arc Paragon that's helping my arc class, it's going to give me a rift more often. So this one right here, I don't have any arc mods to put there, so I've just got self-repairing, which is kind of, you know, it is what it is. It's the best choice of anything that I have in there because obviously Solar Paragon when I'm running Stormcaller is just not going to help me out at all. So that being said, that's the PvP setup that I have right there. Make sure that your armor always matches what you have in your super. So everything in your armor, if you can make it, should be matching your super. Now, if you need more armor mods, you can disassemble mods and you'll get mod components. And then Banshee also sells them, so those are some places that you can get them. Let's go over the guns specifically. Mida Multi-Tool. Everybody is using the Mida Multi-Tool right now. So just about every match that you go into, I'd be hard-pressed to see if you'd find a match without one. It's a really good gun. Another one for a primary is the Vigilance Wing. I mean, you can two-burst somebody with the Vigilance Wing. Mida Multi-Tool is great from a distance. It's terrible up close. And the Vigilance Wing is terrible up close, but it's great medium range, and it can be okay at a distance. If you're getting into a battle where you're really close range, Origin Story. That one stacks. So the more kills that you get with it, you get like a temporary buff with it. It lasts about 9 seconds. So getting double kills with the Origin Story is pretty easy. If you don't want to rock the Mighty Multi-Tool, or maybe you want to rock an exotic heavy or a secondary, a close second to the Mighty Multi-Tool is the Nameless Midnight. I mean, it is just really good. Almost, if you compare the stats, they're almost identical. The only thing that you are missing with the Nameless Midnight versus the Mighty Multi-Tool is the Nameless Midnight, the radar doesn't stay active. So you can counter that on the Hunter by maybe rocking the Foe Tracer helmet, and that's a good choice for you too. So if you go to my secondary, I have the Prosecutor. Well, why do I have the Prosecutor here? Well, I want to cover all my bases when it comes to setup with PvP. So I've got the Mida in case I get into a long distance battle. I can hold my own with the Mida. Up close, I've got the Prosecutor. If I don't want the Prosecutor, I can go the Uriels. I could switch to the Last Hope, but Last Hope is really like when they're really close. Like when you're going around corners, going to plant bombs, things of that nature. That's a good gun to have. Um, the Number is also a great auto rifle. Um, that would be really my setup. Really, you could rock any of these for an auto rifle. You know, you could go the Prosecutor, you could go the Uriels, you could go the Number, and be okay. Let's say you do put on your origin story. So what's wrong with this picture right here? I've got an origin story primary, and then I've got a Prosecutor secondary. So I've got the auto rifle double covered. So if I was going to do that, I would really take a look at what I've got in my secondary, and I would rather have a scout rifle to cover me long range. So maybe I would put on something like the End, or maybe I would put on something like the Pilates Corrector, which if you look at the Pilates Corrector, it almost has the exact same stats as the Mida. I mean, they're just deadly close. So really, all I did was I swapped my Mida from top to bottom and my Prosecutor from bottom to top. So that's really about what you would want for weapons choice. Like I said, for heavy, you can go with whatever. I feel like it's really hard to miss if you have a rocket launcher. Rocket launchers pretty much rule everything in the Crucible. It's obviously a one-shot kill. So quick notes that we can take away from this class. Make sure that your armor mods are matching your super mods. Make sure that you are covered long range. Make sure that you're covered short range. Make sure that you have a heavy that you are good with, whether it be a sword, whether it be a shotgun, whether it be a fusion rifle, whether it be a sniper rifle. This is all personal preference. If I'm just having fun, I'll use the tractor cannon because I like to bounce bodies off the walls. But that's just me. Pretty much now, that's the end of the class there. I'm going to open up the floor to any questions of the guys that I've got in here. So go ahead with anything that you guys got from this. Did everybody understand everything?
I gotcha.
Gotcha. All right, awesome. Ronnie, you got anything, or was that pretty crystal? Okay. Well, that will conclude the class then. I'm going to end the clip here. This is Typical Veteran, the BGC over at Destiny PS4 1st Battalion, 2nd Battalion, signing off. Thanks for watching, guys.